Welcome to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping Orange County. With your host, Don Camber.
Hello, live from the OC Talk Radio studios at UCI's Beal Applied Innovation Center. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Don Camber with another great guest positively impacting our community. Today I welcome Municipal Water District of Orange County General Manager Harvey de la Torre. MoDOC is a wholesale water supplier and resource planning agency that serves nearly 3.2 million Orange County residents through 27 retail water agencies. Its mission is to provide reliable, high-quality supplies from the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California and other sources to meet Orange County's present and future water needs. Thank you, Harvey, for being on Impact OC.
Well, thank you, Don. It's a pleasure to be here.
Harvey, let's start with the current water supply situation. After a particularly wet winter, many might assume that our water worries are over. Is that the case?
Well, you're right from the standpoint that that's the assumption a lot of people would make. This year we are having and showing above average precipitation. In fact, it's the second year that we're having above average. Locally, we average around 15 inches per year. We're already a little bit above 20, and we still got more to go in regards to the many months. In Northern California, which is we get a lot of our imported water, as well as along the Colorado River, the snowpack in Northern California is above 100%, and the Colorado River is getting close to almost that 100% mark in the coming months. So when that snow starts to melt, we're going to start to see the improvements there. But the results, in fact, even today are showing that we're going to get more water from the state. DWR, the Department of Water Resources of California, just announced today that we're seeing a 10% increase on our amount of state project water. That's roughly 200,000 acre feet. We're going to get more in Southern California. So we're shifting now from meeting our overall demands to now we're putting water into storage. So I can definitely see where people would say our water worries are over. Unfortunately, it's difficult for a water professional of my position to say, is it? And the reason why is that we're constantly in drought cycles. That's just part of living in Southern California. But what has changed in more recent years, and I think it comes to no surprise to a lot of people, is that climate change. It's variations upon what we're seeing with these shifts of a wet period and a dry period. And that's a common occurrence, but they're having more of a severity in their conditions. We're seeing these longer dry periods, hotter months, and then we're seeing a shift in a wet period. We just experienced that where we had dramatic reductions in the amount of supplies we had, and then we shifted dramatically to having a record amount of snowpack one given year. So we're lucky right now. We're having 2 years, and I'm very blessed with it. So we definitely are in the right direction. As water professionals, we're trying to plan to capture and prepare for that part of our drought cycles. But to say water, we're having those worries, they're still there. And I think climate change is putting that front and center still.
So us, the public, when we think of what's going on, we shouldn't let our guard down. We still need to conserve like we did in the past.
Yes. And it's not just the residents. The responsibility doesn't fall with residents to conserve and be mindful of it. And in Orange County, we don't like to say conservation. We like to say water use efficiency because we're looking at how we could always be efficient. Conservation is definitely a universal term, but we're looking for that extra effort when we're looking to conserve. Water use efficiency is something that we should be doing every single day. But beyond that, we're also looking at what we can do from residents to businesses, how they can be more creative. And then ourselves, we have a responsibility as water professionals to capture every single drop and plan for the future, which is a cornerstone of what MoDOC does. We're a planning agency for the region, and we're trying to ensure that we make the right strategic decisions for the county.
Well, how are we ensuring that you have a reliable water supply in Orange County?
Yeah, so that's a combination of a number of things. Before we would see that maybe conservation was a way of doing things. We definitely saw that in the 1970s when we were looking at methods of low flow shower heads and toilets, and then we started shifting to different things in the 80s and even to the 90s. Well, right now to how we're handling the climate change justice is more of a balanced portfolio. It's just not include just conservation. We have to look at areas of storage. We have to look at the areas of enhanced local investments in infrastructure. When it comes to recycling, we have to look at even elements of ocean desal, which is another element that pretty much is becoming a reality in Orange County. It's a balanced portfolio.
So are those the key focus areas?
So every agency has to make that decision upon how they're going to handle it, because in Orange County, if you live in South Orange County, you're heavily dependent on imported water. Unlike in Northern Orange County, you have a plentiful groundwater basin. So depending upon where you live, and your local water agency is going to be able to provide you how best they structure that. Like I was saying, with that ocean desal project, that seems to be definitely a huge endeavor that the South Coast Water Agency, which is in that Dana Point and Laguna Beach area, they're looking at ocean desal as one of their mechanisms to help reliability. Then you have in Northern California, through the efforts of Orange County Water District, which is our groundwater basin agency, looking at using recycled water to replenish the groundwater basin to ensure reliability. So where are you at in Orange County can also dictate exactly what portfolio and what planning efforts really work for them.
Explain ocean desalination.
So it's something that's always been there. It goes way back even to the 50s. The military has been using that. But what it does is it takes water from the ocean that's extremely salty, and it goes through a number of membranes to take out that salt and be able to purify it in such a way that could be drinkable. It is energy intensive, and that's why it's kind of been one of the elements that has not been used in recent years. But because of technology and because of the efforts that we're seeing with more advancements in technology, we're going to be able to find that cost break point where in essence it can be used. And in fact, there's already a project in San Diego and Carlsbad that's already doing ocean desal.
Explain.
The Carlsbad project in San Diego is a project that's already producing 56,000 acre feet. So think of 1 acre foot that can serve a family of around 4 or 5 people for an entire year. And they're already producing that in San Diego, and that's definitely an element that's right. But one of the impediments is you have to have location. It's a tremendous amount of effort to get the permitting. And it also has to be something that the local agencies are willing to really make the effort because of the costs associated with it. But it's where we're going, and you're seeing that throughout the state. And as in fact, the governor is saying that has to be part of the portfolio mix we're looking at. So again, that element of looking at different sources in different locations is going to be part of something that every water agency has to look at.
Speaking of water agencies, explain the relationship you have with the retail water agencies.
Yes, thank you for that. So what Municipal Water District of Orange County was created in 1951. Its purpose was to be able to be your metropolitan representative, which is the large agency in downtown LA, where we bring in water from Northern California and the Colorado River to meet the needs of Orange County. The unique aspect of Orange County is that the northern part is covered, their water supply is covered a lot by the groundwater basin. But in southern Orange County, that's really covered through the imported water. We provide roughly 140,000 acre feet per year. That's equivalent to around 50 billion gallons per year that we deliver. And we deliver that throughout the entire county. So what MoDOC does is provide that imported water. The Orange County Water District just provide the groundwater side of that. But MoDOC goes beyond that. We have an element of providing advocacy at the legislative level. We also do the regional planning for the county to ensure that reliability is key. And so we're entering into the areas of education, we get to the areas of advocacy and ensure that the county is well representative at these regional discussion tables.
So the retail water agencies are the ones that each of us have to go by in terms of how we get our water. And,
yes.
And so you kind of do the supply to the retail water agencies depending on what I guess the state allots to you, and then I guess there must be a formula to what you do to the retail water agencies.
That's pretty much it. The retail agencies purchase the water, the imported water from MODOC, and some of them have the ability for some local resources. So if you're the city of Orange, you're getting water from the ground as well as buying a little bit from MODOC for that imported water needs. Then you're in South Orange County, those agencies unfortunately are limited on their local supplies, even though they do a tremendous effort on recycled water, but they meet a lot of their consumptive demands through imported water, which they do purchase from MODOC. But those cities, you're absolutely right, and special districts throughout the county kind of have that mix depending upon the availability of their conditions there.
So give us some examples of some of MODOC's initiatives in action.
Sure. Some of the most cornerstone initiatives that we do is in the areas of planning. You know, we have done an Orange County reliability study, which kind of looks at over the next 20 to 30 years, what are the supply conditions looking like and what are the demands looking like, and how do we meet that gap? And in collaboration with those retail agencies, do we need to do more in local investment or more in conservation? And again, what's that balanced portfolio mix that should work? So that reliability study is something that is conducted every between 5 to 7 years to ensure that the county is reliable going over the next 25 years to 30 years. The other thing is that we have programs from school programs where we educate students on the value and the importance of water as well as water awareness. The other aspect is we work in close contact with our agencies in the areas of emergency preparedness. That's one thing that's kind of overlooked a lot. MODOC has a program that stands for Water Emergency Response for Orange County, or REROC, and that helps when there are either fires or earthquakes or even floods to coordinate the efforts throughout the county to ensure that water can flow. And you can know that that's especially important during fires. One of the last things that I like to emphasize that is something that we're really proud of that we've done in the last 5 years is leak detection. We look at leak detection from a city-wide system or a water system and try to identify those leaks to repair them and fix them before they become a problem. And that's been something that the state has been asking, and MODOC has taken upon it through the coordination with the agencies to go out and kind of measure and survey those pipes to identify whether those leaks are big or small, to kind of get in there and repair them before they become a massive problems. So not only does it save water, but it also saves money, which is, I think, a tremendous effort that we do.
There was a tunnel system that I guess the voters approved. It was 2 tunnels, and I guess now the governor made it 1 tunnel. Can you talk about that?
Yes, you're referencing the Delta Conveyance Project, and that's just the recent name. It's gone through different iterations through time, from California water fix to these twin tunnels. So we find that the Delta Conveyance Project is something that needs to happen to monitorize the system to be able to deal with some of these climate changes. Adaptation is a cornerstone that I think we all need to look at in the water industry. What we're seeing is that the state regulations, the federal regulations, when it comes to the environmental aspects of the Delta, is making the system difficult to operate at its full capacity. Having a more modern system is going to allow the waters to be able to be flowed when it's more plentiful. In fact, this year, like we were saying, above average, we can't move all the water down because there are environmental impacts that are preventing us to be able to bring that to water to the locations that it needs. And I believe the governor is correct that we got to update that system through a Delta Conveyance Project that will be able to do that. Now, there's a tremendous amount of hurdles, and the costs are something that that we all have to embrace. However, the importance of what that project can provide is ensuring our reliability, and that's another element of that balanced portfolio. It is not just relying only on that project, it's the aspects of local investments, recycle water, conservation, but Delta Conveyance is definitely part of that.
It's the matter of getting water from Northern California to Southern California.
Correct.
And where are we with that project?
Well, it's right now going through the planning efforts and permitting. It is constantly being looked at from people in the Delta that don't want it, and there's always legislation that are either trying to accelerate it or stop it. Something of this magnitude is not easy to get through, and it's always a struggle to ensure that. But to ask where's it at, it's still in the planning stages, and I believe the estimates would take anywhere between 12 to 15 years before we would even get to that operational standpoint. Metropolitan Water District is still evaluating that and seeing if the cost benefit, because there are notions and arguments to be made that you can build a conveyance system, but does it give you that guarantee of water that you need? We believe that the cost benefit does show that it can work for Southern California. And there's others that question whether you're going to ensure that. It's still up there, and there's still a lot more analysis that needs to be done, and Metropolitan hasn't taken a position on Governor Newsom's DCP project, so we're still waiting to see how that goes.
So you're involved with the planning of water reliability in Orange County. Does that mean you're in touch with developers so that when they're going to develop in an area, you know that you'll be able to help the retail agencies supply the water to those areas?
Those are actually, that's a great question. That's actually left up to the retail agencies. We want to ensure that the retail agencies, which are the cities and water districts, they're the ones actually on the ground dealing with that and making those decisions. We're here really much at the wholesale regional level from the county to be able to get that information from those retail agencies and ensure how we can best meet those needs and those demands. So when it comes to those discussions, those are really left with the cities and the retail agencies talking with certain developers. But those aggregate numbers, those demand numbers do eventually come to us, and we work with the other agencies, including Metropolitan Water District, upon ensuring that we can meet those demands going forward in the future.
Now, in the past, we did have a drought, and we were under restrictions. We all were. Explain how that worked.
Yes. The drought that we did have where the state did ask for reductions anywhere between 25, I believe, to almost 35% reductions in different areas. It was something that I hope we never have to go through again, because it was a little draconian from the standpoint that it did not truly recognize how much investments every retail agency or even MODOC in the county has done. But it was something that the governor had to use throughout the entire state. I believe we met just about all those levels, and I think it's a success story based on our efforts and the public's effort to be able to meet those. But when we go forward, I don't think that's going to be the same method, because there was a lot of pushback on that. It did not truly recognize a lot of the investments that a lot of the agencies made in the past to ensure that reliability. It was, in essence, imposed by the state to really see a rapid response and reductions. Again, we've met that, but again, it's not something that we would encourage to see again.
So the state had the mandates to you, and then you had to make the mandates to the different retail water agencies to their respective customers.
Actually, the governor imposed that on all the retail agencies. Where MODOC fit in was we worked with the agencies to help them meet those needs, but it was the governor imposed it on the retail agencies.
Right. So rebates were part of the proposition here. Explain how rebates work.
So rebates are a financial incentive mechanism to help the public and businesses to go out and change during certain aspects of their water usage, ranging from in the past, like we were mentioning in the 90s, where you could get a rebate to switch out a more low-flow toilet to save water. And we even see that with smart timers now, where you could get a financial incentive to do that. There is even beyond that, where you could even do projects, like we were mentioning the Doheny desal project, that can receive an incentive to be able to reduce those costs. But to your question of rebates, rebates are usually related to the residential and businesses. So today, if you wanted to change out your lawn to be more drought tolerant and tear out the grass or replace it, I like to say, you actually could get a rebate through watersmart.com, which would be able to financially provide you with that incentive per square foot to be able to switch that out and lower your overall water bill.
Now, would they go to the retail agency to get the rebate?
You could go to your retail agency, or you could actually go to our website, which actually provides you direct access to that, because it is a regional program, and your local agency should be able to have that. Now, you can go to modoc.com or you can go to watersmart.com.
Well, how can residents also get involved in this whole water issue?
It's, I think, the things that we're doing today, which is listen in, be more cognizant of what the issues are going on today, talking with your community, as well as attending board meetings and discussions that are in the public forum when it comes to water. You'll be surprised that there are a lot of water districts out there, and they are really looking for more community involvement. They are talking about serious issues ranging from rate structure issues all the way to conservation that I think the public should be aware of. So you could get in different levels, from schools to be involved in your community through the water districts. There's even elements upon some water districts have even citizen advisory groups. There are tours that sometimes happen through local agencies to learn more about it. So ranging from just festivals that go on, there's a water awareness month that water districts do just to go out there and learn with your children, all the way up to even going to tours and learning even about the complexity of a water system.
So there's enough water awareness, but when we had that drought, it was pretty drastic. Did you find that many people are keeping up with it, not wasting water?
Yes, I think the public has responded very well. In fact, what we're seeing is water usage come down more than almost we expected when we were called upon, and it's been staying relatively low. The trend for the last 10 to 15 years is a dramatic trend. So that water awareness ethic is definitely holding true. Now, what is happening to verify that is that the rebound that normally we would see with water planners when people would try to ease off of that water conservation is not happening. It's staying low. And so I think the public has responded very well with that, and we're seeing that continuing going forward. The water usage today in Orange County is in essence equal to what we were seeing in the late 1970s, and it just shows a tribute to the county and the public's response.
So what did they do to get there?
Well, what I think is these education programs that are starting up right when they were at kindergarten or first or second grade is still staying with them. I can tell you that my kids are constantly telling me, "Dad, turn off that water faucet when you're brushing your teeth." So you're seeing that at that young age already, that water awareness. You're seeing that with bottled waters no longer being used, but people bringing in their own water Stanley cups or something to pour their water in there. They're becoming more cognizant of it. Low flow toilets, those components are definitely playing a big part, and that's being reflected in the usage we're seeing today.
And people are viewing water as a very valuable commodity.
Absolutely. I think people find that from the environmental aspect and the importance of it is definitely resonating, not only with today's younger citizens, but also with our older citizens that are seeing the value of it and the importance of it.
And they were being creative in getting rid of their lawns and putting, I guess, what you call rock gardens.
There's not only just rock gardens. That's the great thing about it. They're becoming more creative. They're starting to see that you can have California friendly. You can have something aesthetically pleasing. It doesn't have to be those rock gardens. The transitions upon what can be used as California native or California that uses less water, or using smart timers that's connecting to use less water, drip irrigation. Technology and innovation is moving things where you can have something very aesthetically pleasing and beautiful, but still be water cognizant and at the same time water efficient.
Speaking of water efficient, when is the best time to water your lawn?
Well, I will tell you, start off is that you do not water your lawn obviously, not only when you turn off that sprinkler system when it's about to rain, when it's raining, and then of course try to wait a couple of days after. You'll find out that your lawn and your plants can definitely withstand after it's been rained. You want to look at those timers and identify exactly when that water, but you'll be surprised that you don't need to water your lawn every single day. Finding that good balance between your lawn and how much it needs to be watered can roughly last anywhere between 3 to sometimes 5 days a week. And looking at that timing system can make it where you're just giving enough. Some people sometimes overwater, and that becomes an area where they feel that that it's not giving that aesthetic pleasing to their lawn, so they tend to overwater it. And that's probably something you want to look at and adjust, and talk to some of the experts out there, because they will give you some great advice and tips upon how to create that balance between watering just enough to keep everything aesthetically pleasing without seeing those high bills.
Thank you, Municipal Water District of Orange County General Manager Harvey de la Torre, for being on Impact OC. And I thank everyone for tuning in. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Dawn Camber. Have an impactful day.
You've been listening to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping our community. Right here on Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio.